Alright, today I am going to be making a salmon, potato dinner. Absolute goodness. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cook the onions and then I'm going to season this. Alright, as you can see right here, I have an assortment of vegetables right here, which I'm going to cook. I'm going to start to saute the onion first while I season the salmon. Absolute goodness. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some 100% all-American olive oil. Come up, just new bottle. Come up here and smell that. Smell that. Absolute goodness. I'm going to put some in my pan right here, just a little bit of oil in the pan. And then I'm going to add the onion. You see these onions right here? And then just go ahead and throw the onion in there. I'm just going to saute these onions, maybe brownitate them a little bit. Put these in there. The onion. Throw them in there. Look at the pan. I'm gonna show you really quick. Let me zoom in so you can see that. The onions. I'm just gonna let them saute in there really well. Get the onion going in there, and then I'm gonna come back over here to season the salmon. All right, absolute goodness. So I'm gonna season the salmon right here. Have about 2 pounds right here, and also have some salmon that I'm going to actually put in the refrigerator. I'm just going to let it marinate because I can't eat so much salmon in one day. So I'm going to take this, peel this back, and I'm going to rinse it. I always rinse my salmon. All right, so I'm going to rinse the salmon really quick. Smelling great, smelling good, absolute goodness. So that's the salmon. And let me get in here, turn the pan down a little bit. Onion sauteing all day. So that's the salmon. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to season this. All right. So I like to season this. This right here is some soy sauce. Right. So I have a packet of soy sauce. I'm going to pour the soy sauce. This adds to nice flavoration on top of the salmon. All right. So once you have that, got the soy sauce in there, it's going to start to permeate inside of there. And then I have some ginger. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see a little bit more of what I'm talking about. Some ginger, and I'm just going to just put it right here. It's not going to have a lot of time to marinate, but that's okay. So I have that. Put a little bit of ginger, and then put some garlic on top. Now I'm putting this on here. I'm going to frietate these when I start to frietate the salmon. And the garlic is going to cook inside of that. Now, because I put soy sauce on there, I don't need any of the salt. So I'm just going to put 100% all-American pepper on here for flavoration purposes. And I also have lemon, but I'm not going to add the lemon until later on. So let me go ahead and check up on the onion. Check up on the onion. Over there, frying, smelling nice, absolute goodness. So I'm just going to get a spoon to stir up the onion, make sure that they're brownerating quite nicely. Come over here and let me check this out. I'm going to let you guys see this. The onions, saute the onion. Going down there. Look at that, absolute goodness. So I'm just going to stir this a little bit to make sure that they get cooked well enough. And I turn them like this. Absolutely good. Smelling good. Turn it up a little bit. And then I am going to come over here and look at the salmon and see it frying nicely or seasoned nicely. I also have another piece which I'm going to marinate. All right, so I'm going to marinate this right here. Now, I'm going to do this a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and take this out of the package. The salmon. This is the extra piece that I need to refrigerate, marinate, maybe freeze. So I'm going to rinse this off, just like I did the other piece. Then I'm going to take, let me move my cap really quick. I'm going to take this other piece, and I'm going to go ahead and put this piece of salmon inside of a Ziploc bag. All right, so I'm doing this because I'm gonna add the marination on. Let me rinse off my hands, get some of the salmon juice off. All right, so now that I put some of the salmon in here, I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna add some ginger. Can throw the ginger in here. Add a little bit. Add some garlic. Add some garlic, some ginger. Then I'm gonna put a little bit of cilantro in here to the mix. Then I'm gonna get a little bit of soy sauce. Okay, and the soy sauce has salt in it. It's going to add a nice flavoration to it. Put the soy sauce in there. Absolute goodness. A little bit more garlic for seasonation. And then I'm going to pour a little bit of olive oil in the bag. And some ground pepper flakes. So I have that in there. Put that to the side. Close this up. Make sure the air's out of it. Mix it all around like this. Put it in the refrigerator overnight. It's going to be smelling good, tasting good tomorrow. Absolute goodness. Let me rinse off my hands. So, let me check up on the onion. Check up on the onion. Let's come over back here to the onion. The onion cooking in the pan. Absolute goodness. I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to go ahead and flip the onion. They're smelling great, starting to toast rate slightly. The onion, I'm going to flip them. See, look, they're starting to brown rate. Look at that, nicely. This is going to be nice to throw on top of the salmon when it gets done. All right, so I'm gonna put this in here. Just let this fry take just a little bit. All right. Meanwhile, I'm gonna talk about the vegetables that I'm going to be eating. Right here is asparagus. Now I'll cut up the asparagus and I'm gonna throw this in the microwave for about a minute, 20 seconds, a minute 30 seconds, and it should be cooking the asparagus quite nicely. Absolute goodness. All right, I'm just gonna go place this in the microwave. I'm not gonna turn it on quite yet, because it's not time to eat. But like right before I eat, I'm going to go ahead and cook the asparagus. Let me go ahead and check up on these onions. Look at these onions, smelling good. And they're almost done. They're almost sauteed. Absolute goodness. Smelling great. Nothing like some sauteed onions. Let me zoom in a little bit closer so you can see all of this. Come up the screen and smell this right here. Absolute goodness. Now, if you want them a little bit more than al dente, you can actually pour in a little bit of what's here. Now, this will actually steam them a little bit and get them to cook down if you're kind of in a rush or you just want them to be cooked a little bit more than al dente. Absolute goodness. All right, so they're frying quite nicely. I'm about to go ahead and place the onions to the side. I'm going to go ahead and get my plate out. Then I'm going to put the onions. These are just going to be on the side. Actually, I'm going to put them in a bowl. All right, absolute goodness. Onions. I'm going to go ahead and place them in a bowl right here. There's a great onion flavoration inside of the pan that's going to be transferred to the salmon. Absolute goodness. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Get all the onions out of the pan right here. Set these to the side. They're still sweating. Absolute goodness. I'm going to go ahead and put this right here. Look at onions. Still leaving the pan on, not turning it off completely because I'm going to use the heat from the pan cook the salmon. All right, absolute goodness. Get this last little bit of onion out. To the side, make sure that doesn't burn. Absolute goodness. All right, so I have the onions done. I have lemon, which I'm not going to use until later. So the pan's still on. I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil to the pan. And then I'm going to go ahead and place the salmon into the pan. Absolute goodness. So I'm going to take this and flip it like that. Absolute goodness. Smelling great. Brings off my hands a little bit. I'm going to get it closer so you can see all of this. Let me zoom in a little bit closer so you can see the details of what's going on right here. A lot of fun stuff going on right here. Now, I'm not going to bake this. I'm going to completely fry it. So you got to be careful with this that you don't burn it. So you want to turn it high and then turn it down a little bit lower. And sometimes I've been known to use the steam method as well to cook it all the way through. Maybe I'm not going to be able to use that in this. I'm not sure, but oh well. So I have the cilantro over there. Now the cilantro I'm going to add towards the ending of making the salmon. Now because the cilantro will cook down and it has a nice flavoration to it, but I don't need the cilantro to be burning. So it's in there in the pan right here. Alright. Going to check up underneath here to see how it's fritating. Nice. They turn it up a little bit. You're going to see in a little bit. You're going to see how the crispiness, if you want it to be crispy brown, you could try to use butter in here. Butter browns everything nicely. I choose not to use butter for this particular recipe, but I'm known to use the butter to make fried salmon. Absolute goodness. So you can see part of it right here. At the bottom right here, you can see the part that's cooked down there. Let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see that. Look at that. It's cooking slowly from the outside in. Now, the longer it cooks, the more that pink is going to start to turn white, indicating that it's going to be cooked. I'm actually going to flip it. I actually cook it also on the scale side in order for it to cook evenly. All right, so if you've never seen fish fried like this, you'll see it today. Absolute goodness. This is cooking nicely right here. The seasoning, the garlic is in there. The garlic is in there. Smelling great. My gosh. Alright, so it's going to keep on frying right here. I'm just going to keep on turning around, making sure that I don't burn it. Don't want to burn it. It's looking like it's cooking properly. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this. See how well it's toasting on the other side. Just going to go ahead and flip this in a second. Maybe let it toast a little bit longer. Then I'm going to flip this. And this is going to be excellent when I put the lemon on it, along with the cilantro. It's going to taste so good. So great. Absolute goodness, if you ask me. Absolute goodness. So I have this cooking right here. I'm going to go ahead and flip it. Alright, I'm going to flip it on the other side. Look at that. Nice. Get the garlic. Now, I'm taking the garlic and I'm putting it on top because I don't want the garlic and ginger, excuse my French, to burn all the way. So I'm just going to take this, place it on the top. And while this is cooking right here, I'm just going to go ahead and add the cilantro to the top. Just like this. Absolute goodness. I'm just going to add the cilantro on top. And this is going to cook down slightly. But it's going to add tremendous amount of flavor to the salmon. Absolute goodness. I'm going to go ahead and dress it up like this. Right there. I might add a little bit of lemon to it right here. So I got the lemon. Let me zoom in so you can see a little bit better. I'm just going to take the lemon, just add the lemon to it. It's going to start to cook inside of it. Absolute goodness. Smelling good. Just going to let this keep on fritating. Look at it. Absolutely. I'm going to add a little bit of pepper to it. Add a little bit of pepper to the top right here. Absolute goodness. Smelling good, smelling great. Just spin it around slightly like this. Now it's cooking underneath right here. You can see it's starting to cook right here. You see some of the juices come out to the side. Just gonna let it keep on fritating right here. Now the salmon that I put in here is gonna marinate overnight, and it's gonna be excelente. A little bit of French for you guys tomorrow. Absolute goodness. This is frying right here, smelling good. Look at that. Look at that. Absolute goodness. Now when it's frying, you want to cook it all the way through. Sometimes it's a little cheat method. I'm going to show you. I'll take a little bit of water and pour it on here. And some of the steam goes through and assists with the cooking of the salmon. Look at it. Absolute goodness. Look at that. Absolute goodness. You know, you don't want to put too much water in because you don't want it to boilerate. You just want it to steamerate and steam through and cook the salmon. Absolute goodness. And if you want, you can actually put a top on top, and that will incubate the salmon, therefore cooking the inside a little bit better. Absolute goodness. Alright, so once it's cooked pretty much all the way through the inside, there's still some more that needs to be cooked in order to ensure that it's done. I can see a little bit of pinkish right here. And I want to cook down the cilantro. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to flip this on to this side. Alright? And it's going to cook the cilantro. It fell off a little bit. It's going to cook down the cilantro as well as cook the rest of the salmon on the inside. Absolute goodness. So I'm going to just let that frite. And at the same time, I'm going to add the onions back to the pan. Cover the top. Get that onion juice all in there. Absolute goodness. I'm going to squeeze a little bit more of the lemon down in here. This is going to add a lot to the flavoration. I'm going to save a little squeeze of lemon for when it's done. And that's going to permeate all the way down in there and really tastes good. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see some of it. Come in here, smell that. Smell the salmon, smell the onion, smell the garlic, smell the ginger, smell the olive oil, smell the onion. I said onion, cilantro. Absolute goodness if you ask me. I'm just going to let this fry a little bit more, and then I'm going to add this to the plate. Absolute goodness if you ask me. Alright, it should be about done now, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off the fire, and I'm going to scrape away some of the onions, the tasty onion. Look at that. Permeating the salmon 100%. Absolute goodness. And I'm going to take the salmon, I'm going to take it like this. Look how heavy it is. Flip it. Look at that. Look at the salmon. I'm going to take the onion and garnish the salmon with the onion. Absolute goodness. Smell the cilantro. Come up to the screen and smell this. This is smelling great. Smelling good. Got the asparagus inside of the microwave about to be turned on. Let me go ahead and look at this. Look at the onion. Gonna put the rest of this on here. Absolute goodness. Again, a couple more pieces of onion. And I'm going to show you this. And get a little bit more piece of the lemon. Oh, oh. Look at that. Absolute goodness if you ask me. Absolute goodness.